Hey, welcome to another update on Archmage Rises. Nick, you ready to talk about some Archmage?
I'm ready.
You're in the middle of crunch, aren't you? Trying to get their seed game done
Yep, we've got a week left after that one.
before PAX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's combat farming.
Yep.
I think that just sounds cool.
Yeah, it's neat. You know, it's been a fun project for sure.
So is it your experience that making games is hard?
Yeah, it's rewarding, exciting, and always hard. No matter what you're working on, it's always difficult.
So this week, the update for those who like to see game and game features and stuff, I got nothing to show because I've been working on the economy all week. But I do have a personal note to talk about in a minute or two. So yeah, making games is pretty darn hard. And this week was especially difficult because I've been working on the economy and it's really crazy complicated. And I got like a whiteboard right behind me, right? That's a whiteboard. And I was like whiteboarding it all out and it's like so simple. It's so clean and so nice. And then when I go to actually do it, I'm just like, man, this is a friggin' mess. This is crazy. It's not working at all. So I've managed to do a couple of things. One was I got everybody working on a task-based system, so that way I can control how quickly things are produced or not, right? As opposed to a guy goes and he does something every day, and like every day something pounding out. Now I can say, oh, that's a 2-day task, that's a 5-day task, that's a 7-day task, and then that helps even things out to the way that I think they should be. About in the last 30 minutes, right before we started talking about shooting this video, I've been working all week on getting the merchants and the traders working correctly with getting demand to go out to the different towns. So the idea is if you have town A, town B, and town C, and town A needs metal because they have a weaponsmith, and town C has a mine with metal, that town B can be that in between. And there can be as many town Bs as I want, right? So if I can get it working between 3 towns, it'll work between 30 towns because it always goes out one node. So anyways, it's just been a nightmare trying to get it to work. And I was real happy, I guess a day ago or a day and a half ago, when I posted on the Steam forums this like picture of it like working, and I was like, yeah, it's working. And then when I actually went to do some other work on it, then I found out that the towns were bouncing back the demand. So when town A says, hey, I need some metal, we give it to town B. Town B would like rename it in a sense, like put its own identity on it and say, hey, I'm town B and I really need some metal. And then that would go to town C, and then town C would say, oh, well, I have metal, so I don't really care about your need for metal or whatever. And then town B would also send it back to town A, and it would look like new demand. So town A needed the metal, and then it would get town B coming back, and then town A is like, oh man, I got 5 I need for me and 5 for town B, so I need 10. So it would up its order to 10 at town B, and then town B would be like, oh man, I got this incoming order for 10. I need to up my order to everybody that knows me, which is town A, and say, hey, I need 15. And then it would just bounce back and forth until it got into the millions.
It's like a feedback loop.
I created this awesome feedback loop. So on some generated worlds, I didn't notice that. Like, it didn't happen. In some generated worlds, it did, depending on how the roads were connected and such. So anyways, that was a real nightmare that I had to work through. And I finally worked it through. And then I was having problems with when the trader finally got the stuff and brought it back and sold it back. Then you have to remove the demand. Well, you don't just have to do it locally, you have to do it throughout the network. And so that just became troublesome, but I actually got it working. So I'm actually a lot happier right now than I was half an hour ago.
Nice.
If you can tell at all.
You look very sweet, Thomas.
Yeah. So I thought working on the economy would be like fun, like interesting. And it is interesting, but it's also brutal and miserable at the same time. It's actually really, really close to the professional software development that I used to do. And I think that's what's dragging me down, because it feels like I'm stuck at my old job or something. On the other hand, my experience building transportation systems and warehouse management systems and order taking systems, and just all that stuff is helping. It's helping. Makes me miserable that I'm doing like the exact same kind of work, but at least I kind of know how to do it.
Yeah, get a head start.
Yeah. So when you're coding something that's like really big and it's like not working and it's like so complicated you can't quite keep it all in your head, right? There's like it needs 30 bubbles and you can only have room in your head for 29. It's like I feel like I'm missing something, but it should work. From all the things I can think of, it should work. It's kind of like, I think the feeling's like being buried alive. Like at first you're like, oh, this isn't so bad, work, and it's like someone keeps throwing another shovelful on you and stuff, and eventually you're like, I can't get out of that. Getting buried alive here. So that's the way I feel, but maybe I have turned the corner on this. So, anyways, when I get sick of working on the game, I go to the Steam forums and I chat with people about the game, and that's nice. So I want to thank everybody last week, especially the lurkers that just watch the videos and never comment, that like commented on the World Editor, and I found it very enlightening that most people are like, yeah, it's not that important to have a World Editor. I actually would have judged that to be a lot higher. So anyways, I'm not really going to put any more thought towards it. If I get into a situation where I'm doing something that would prevent the creation of a world editor, then I might raise that and see what people think or whatever. But anyways, basically everybody's like, get the release done. What are you talking about, a world editor? So yeah, that's been good. And I've had some delays and some distractions this week, which, Nick, you are aware of, but nobody else is. And I guess I'll start with, it's not another baby. It's worse. So around March 1st, March 2nd, I was lying in bed, I was reading my Kindle, and I noticed that a bunch of the words were blurry. And I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't know, maybe I don't get enough sleep, maybe I'm kind of stressed out. I am kind of stressed out trying to build this build. But anyway, I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'll see how it is in the morning and stuff. And I woke up in the morning and my left eye was still kind of blurry. And then I decided I had a lot of work I needed to do, so I did that. Typical male, just like, it'll get better. And then I decided I really need to get this checked out because every morning I wake up and my eye is very blurry. And so then I went to an eye doctor, to an optometrist that just checks your vision to update your prescription. And they were like, you have a blood blockage on your retina and it's causing like a bunch of trouble in behind your eye in your retina. And I was like, oh man, that really sucks. So she was like, you gotta maybe go to emergency and see like an eye surgeon and get them to check this out and see like how serious this is and stuff. And so we couldn't get a hold of a doctor, like even the one that was supposed to be on call. And so I didn't really want to sit around waiting for a doctor for like 3 or 4 hours. So then I decided to go home. And then the next day I went and saw the eye surgeon in their office, and they looked at me and they said, wow, this is really strange. I see this in 80-year-olds. I don't see it in 40-year-olds. And so I was like, yikes, this is no good. So she's like, okay, we're going to do a bunch of tests on you, and got more doctor's appointments. And what she said that was most concerning was, I don't think this is your core problem. I think this is a symptom of another problem that is bad. And so this is like the canary in the coal mine telling us that you have this other bad problem. So that creates even more doctor's appointments. And that also creates a lot of thinking about life and what am I doing with it, as you can imagine. And somebody recently sent me the GDC talk by the Butterscotch Shenanigans guy. Do you know what I'm talking about, Nick?
I don't know. It sounds amazing with a name like that, but I do not know anything about it.
Okay. Maybe you read this on Gamma Sutra a while ago about a guy that got cancer while he was working on Crashlands.
Yeah, I did read that article.
Yeah. I don't know if you know the ending of it. Do you know the ending of it?
No.
Okay. Well, he survived the cancer and released Crashlands.
Oh yeah, I mean I read that article,
Oh, okay.
but I thought there was some new info or something.
No, but he recently gave a GDC talk talking about that whole experience. And anyway, he was really like, wow, if I'm making games, he was working on Endless Runner, and he was like, man, if I only have a couple months left to live, I'm not going to waste my time on an Endless Runner. And I feel like the same way about working on Archmage. I was thinking, okay, let's say that I do have something very serious, and I only have X months to live. Will I spend it working on Archmage? The answer is yes, because I really, really want to make this game. So I don't have any diagnosis of anything yet. I just, at this point, have a blockage on my retina. And so that in and of itself is making games hard because I wake up in the morning and if you imagine your eye, like if you close one eye and you look through the other one, it's kind of like a giant camera. I kind of think of it as a circle, even though it's actually more ovally. But anyway, so I have like a big circle and 80% of my vision is blurry coming out of my left eye when I wake up. And so it has nothing to do with glasses or anything. It's just, and so when I sit down, I mean, you know, from building a game, like, what do? I code all day. Like, it's all text. And so it's really hard to read the screen. And it's like constant reminder, like, hey, there's something wrong with you. Hey, there's something wrong with you. Hey, there's something wrong with you. But the really strange thing is, after about 3 or 4 hours of being awake, my vision comes back. And it's perfect. Pretty much perfect. There's like small little dots of blurriness that are spread all around. But basically I have 20/20 vision after 3 or 4 hours. So if I wake up around 10ish, then by 1 or so, I can see my screen well. And so I try to work as much as I can. And then I can't really tell if it gets blurry at night because I get sleepy. So it could be like a lot of things. But it's not nearly as blurry as it is in the morning. So anyway, running off to the doctor and getting all these tests. I gave 11 vials of blood the other day, which felt like a lot. And not being able to see my screen very clearly and worrying if I'm going to lose my eye. So all those things are contributing to distraction while I'm trying to work on a game. And so you layer that on top of a stupid economy that won't work. And it's been a pretty depressing week this week. So when I told you what the title was of this video, you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty depressing. Kind of a downer week this week. I never said every video was going to be good. I said they'd be honest. So
and consistent.
And consistent. So yeah, it's been a downer week this week. So if any of you out there pray, you can pray for me and my eye so I can make this game. I want to see my kids, grow up and get married and all that. But what I really want is I want to see the C# code so I can make the game. And as an extra little bonus, I would still like to be able to use my Oculus Rift. Because I kind of feel like having just one eye with a Rift is like, I'm missing a lot. So
yeah, my
ability to work and my ability to use the Rift are really the top things in my mind. But I only share that because my wife's not around right now.
You gotta have your priorities,
I know. They're real clear. They're real straight. I never said they were right, but they're real clear. So that is all I have to say this week. And I will continue on working on the game. And Nick has a job interview in a few hours. Aren't you glad I woke you up?
Yeah, it's much appreciated.
So hopefully that goes well, and maybe we have some good news for you next week.
Yeah, we'll see. Bye.
Okay, bye everybody.